Okay. Woo! So this is a massive celebration. So welcome everybody to this online launch of the wonderful Voices of Women anthology. And we've got many of the co-authors here with us tonight. So we'll be hearing from them about their journey. And yeah, we're all putting the book up because we're proud of it. And we already had a garden party earlier on in the year where some of the ladies who are here tonight will speak about the book and that celebration. And then we've got a lot of people stateside, so we'll have a bit of a panel discussion with them. And then we've got one or two individuals who are going to be speaking as well. Just let me share the screen. I don't know what's happened. I'm going to put up the...
Brenda,
Yes.
Is anybody else admin so they can let people in?
Let me be, if you can make me admin.
If you make Lindsay admin, then she can let people in, because otherwise you're going to be
thank you very much.
Quadruple tasking.
I don't know where Sarah is, but she's got a lot going on, but she did say she would be here.
Yeah.
I'll make you co-host.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
And then you'll be able to, thank you for helping me out then, Lindsay. I really appreciate it.
You got it.
Yeah. My team's a bit thin on the ground tonight, but hey ho, it is what it is, and I'm a rock and roll girl. I go with the flow. So, but yes, what I was saying was, I was going to share the screen to show you roughly what's happening this evening. Although we've got a program, just know that these things can change. So I'm giving you the welcome. Now I'm going to play a little video. Got another little surprise. And Julie from Dubai is going to speak a little bit about her journey and a few other things, I'm sure. And Natalie from Barbados, UK. Natalie, I wasn't sure if you were in Barbados or still in the UK, so I put both. And Tracy's going to come along and she's going to talk a little bit about... she's going to read a little bit and speak to you about her journey. And then we'll have a panelist from, as I said, from the stateside. And then Rosa is going to do a bit of reading, speaking again. And we're going to have a panel from the ladies from the garden party. And Eve's going to share a bit more because I know she's done quite a bit. So I wanted her to share what she's done so far as a co-author and author. And yes, we'll have a Q&A session where you'll get to answer as many questions, ask, sorry, as many questions as you like, and we'll answer them. But as we go through this evening, if something comes up and it pops a little question into your mind, please write it in the chat, and we can always ask the questions directly from the chat as well. That would be brilliant. But please be inspired tonight. We've got awesome, amazing women here tonight who are voices of women. This is about female leadership. And ladies and gents, we need more female leaders in our world. Absolutely, at every single level of at every level in our communities, in our societies, in our industries, in our countries. We need women speaking out, sharing their voices, their points of view, because we will come with a different energy, and that is something that the world needs to see right now. I believe it. That is what inspires me. Bringing people together is my absolute joy in the world. I think it goes back to having been a teacher for 25 years. So let's get started. I've got something that you can listen to. So I'm doing the tech and doing this. So please bear with me while I hopefully I press the right button to share what I want to share. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear, please?
Can it go any louder, Brenda?
Don't know. I'm trying. I don't know. I'm not a big techie. Wait, I see. Hold on. Oh yeah, hold on. Is that better? No? Who can hear?
No, not really.
Brenda, when
It's-
you speak, your mic is only picking up your voice. So you have to stay totally quiet if you're going to play it because it's competing with the sound. So
Let's see. Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear it and I'll be quiet. Was it strong enough to shake? All the future we have made. Together. She'll live with her. She'll live with you. He walks with fire and still. I'm just giving you a taster. So that song is called Every Woman Strong, and that song has been commissioned by BBP in celebration of Voices of Women. So the announcement on that tonight is we have found an amazing, that girl is an amazing vocalist, but unfortunately we can't release it she's a session singer. So we have found an amazing vocalist, and you just have to keep tuned because we are going to be recording that song and we will be releasing it, and I'm hoping around in the month of March, around International Women's Day. So I will keep you all informed, and you'll be able to get your own copy. The great thing about that is we own the copyright and everything of it. I am so thrilled. It is a brilliant song. The ladies at the garden party might want to say a bit more about it when it's their turn, because we were able to blast it out and have a little boogie with it. So yeah, for me, it got me right in my soul, toe tapping. And these are the kinds of things that you can do as an author to help you celebrate and promote your book. But it's not just about promoting a book, it's about promoting the work that has gone on within the pages. It's about promoting you and the difference you want to make in the world and the impact that you can make, whether it's through music, whether it's through story, whether it's through the stories within the book, whether it's through artwork, whatever it is. We're here to make a difference and grab people's attention. And the more multimedia ways in which we can do that, the wider the audience that we can reach. So I hope you enjoyed that little flavour. I'm sorry, I'm not a big tech person. I don't know how to get the volume up. Everything was up as loud as it can go. But I hope you got a bit of a vibe for Every Woman Strong.
I love the song. It's absolutely brilliant.
Oh, thank you very much, Amanda. I'm sure you can say more about it when we get to the garden party panel, because you were at that garden party. So let's look at what we're doing next. I have a little video, but I'm going to leave that because we've sat and listened. So let's start thinking about hearing some of the voices from the women who are in the book. So I would like to introduce to you the wonderful, the fabulous Julie Lewis from Dubai. Well, she's from the UK, but she's lived in Dubai for a considerable amount of time, and I'm sure she'll tell you about that. And I've had the great privilege of working with Julie before, and we have also launched her book Uncharted Waters. But Julie's going to speak to us a bit tonight about her journey in Voices of Women, the work that she does, and why she's passionate about leadership. So Julie, over to you.
Thank you so much. So it's almost 10:15 in the evening here up north in Ras Al Khaimah, which is about an hour's drive away from Dubai. I moved up here last year so that I could have a sea-facing apartment while I was working on Uncharted Waters. It's nice for East to meet West and for people from around the globe to be in the room. Dream big, lead by example, flow like water, and say yes to the adventure of life. And I'm a big Indiana Jones, kind of Indiana Julie type girl, because the way I've chosen to have a voice and lead by example is by leading expeditions all around the globe. So 22 years ago, I climbed my first mountain to celebrate my 40th birthday. Had a soul tap on top of the mountain to start an expedition company called Mountain High and take teams of women from all around the world, all around the globe, to including the top of the earth, the Arctic and Antarctica in between. And I think this is important in terms of sharing, you know, cross-cultural, cross-generational challenges in unpredictable environments, because the business world is unpredictable at times. And to be able to have real-time resilience and adapt to the environment that we find ourselves, I think is a superpower. And to encourage more women to stand up, to speak up, to share their passion, whether it's singing, writing, leadership training, books, adventure, everything basically. So if anybody's got any questions, as Brenda so kindly mentioned, I published Uncharted Waters, Discover Your Hidden Depth earlier this year. It was a sequel to Moving Mountains, Discover the Mountain in You. So I'm very much giving nature a voice, because there's a reason why it's called Mother Nature. So I think it's very important for us to echo the voice of nature and be a voice for nature. But also, you know, I'm 62 years young now, although I'm a dyslexic with numbers, so I say I'm 26 actually, not 62. And I think, you know, through the decades, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, we've had so much experience. So if we can be bridges, you know, from, you know, your 20, 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old self to other women that are joining, you know, are just starting out on their journey, I think that's really a superpower. I'm sure that's more than enough. If anybody's got any questions about being a woman in the Middle East, you can fire away, or anything really. But thank you so much for this opportunity to just say a few words before we dive into the rest of the program, because I missed the garden party. I was with you in spirit. I was in the desert. But yeah, thank you so much, Brenda. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Julie. I want to ask you one or two questions. Julie, what do you believe is important about creating communities, particularly all-female communities? What's your view on that?
You know, I'm big on longevity. I was born on World Health Day, 7th of April. So I think, I know that one of the top factors for longevity, living a long, happy, fulfilling life, is social connection. And I think, you know, your network is your net worth. So building communities, building tribes, building families is a superpower. You know, masterminds, I'm big on masterminds. It's important to have somebody you can have a good laugh with, a good cry with, can get resources, that's interested in different things. So for me, I'm big on building communities, whether that's in person, WhatsApp, Zoom calls like this, to say, hey, I might be miles away, but we can connect on the digital highway and be support for each other. So I think it's super important for all women programs, all women networks, but also for men supporting women. You know, I mean, the challenges that we face in the world cannot be solved by women alone or men alone. It's important to be, you know, to work together. And, you know, I totally get, you know, the conversation might be different. Like on expeditions, the conversation's different if it's all female compared to if it's men and women. And it's not better or worse, it's just different. And I think rather than kind of create it us and them, I think it's embrace our difference and stand in our feminine power, not try to be like a man. Because I'm a woman. And, you know, I think it's more on value graphics, not demographics. What are my values? It's health, learning, growth, making a difference. And whether I'm male or female, I think, you know, forget demographics, focus on value graphics. What are your highest values? What are your big emotional priorities? That's a long answer, but I hope it covers a broad spectrum of, community is important, very important.
Thank you very much, Julie, for your wise words. Really appreciate them.
Brenda,
So,
can I ask a question to Julie?
yes. We can
Just
make. Okay, go on, go on.
Just a very quick one, Julie. This is Amanda. You're such an inspiration, as is every woman who's written a chapter in the book. Although, obviously I haven't met everyone, but I work with children, and obviously I used to be assistant manager at Leisure Centre. Can I just ask you, I mean, the health and safety that you would have to put in place for this business must have been unbelievable. So can you just tell us about, how did you put that into practice with all these women that you're having to look after on the expeditions?
Yeah, my background's in sports science. I'm first aid certified. And the important thing is that preparation is key. So when people sign up, they have to fill out a form to say, this is my level of fitness. They need to be accountable and be prepared to train during the week. Obviously, if they live in the same country as me, we can train together. And I use the best guides. I advise people to have the best equipment. The Norwegians say there's no such thing as bad clothing, bad weather, only bad clothing. So I think there's a lot of preparation that goes into it. And, I don't don't take any risks with suppliers in different countries. So generally speaking, I've been to the country myself. I've experienced it. I know what it takes to be at altitude. I know what it takes to be in the Arctic, Antarctica, and everywhere else in between. I've thrown myself in at the deep end and created paths for others to follow. But yeah, I mean, everybody has travel insurance. They have medical cover, etc., etc. So it's a lot of pre-prep. So you can assess the risk. For example, I took a team of 12 breast cancer survivors to Antarctica. So when people say, I don't think I could do this, I've got health challenges, I said, tell me about your health challenges, and, we created a book and a film to say that, that is not a death sentence, that you can say yes to adventure. So it's important just to, make sure who you're taking on the trip, and then put things in place so that they feel supported. And for some people it doesn't work, it's too much of a risk factor for me, and I just say, I'm sorry, this is not the best trip for you, maybe you'd like to try this instead. Yeah, but it's a great question. Yeah, because okay. I'm not a natural mother, but I'm a mountain mama, I'm an Arctic mama, so when people are with me, I've definitely got their back on their side.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank
Julie.
you. It's an honour to be in your presence.
Thank you. And can we keep the questions to the end so we can get through the programme? Sorry, I'll let that one through. But if you can, and put them in the chat, that would help as well. So, Julie, you're an inspiration, and as is the other 20 women in the book. But thank you for sharing that. Now I'd like to invite, before I do that, I just want to say that we'll be giving 3 copies of Voices of a Woman away tonight. We will put everybody in, every time I say Voices of Women, or we could even do it like this. It's almost like a W, isn't it? Yeah, let's hold it up. And we will be in touch so we can get your addresses and send them. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, we will get a copy of the book to you. And also remember, today you're able to get a copy on Kindle if you like to take books and travel, and this is a great book for dipping into when you're having a little cup of tea or coffee. It's for 99p, 99 cents today on Amazon on Kindle, so make sure you get your copy for that. If you've not got a Kindle, you've got the Amazon e-reader. Amazon get you every way, so no matter what, you can still get a copy, and it's 99. You can't even get a cup of tea for that. So thank you. So Natalie, I want to bring Natalie Healing up now, and Natalie is going to give us an insight into her experience, and she's got something wonderful that she wants to offer too. Thank you, Natalie.
Thanks, Brenda. Can everyone hear me okay? I just unmuted myself. Can everyone hear me okay? Yes. Yeah, okay, great. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Natalie Healing. I'm originally from London, as you may be able to tell from my accent. But Brenda, I am back in Barbados now permanently. And actually, a fun fact is that I relocated here during a 4-week vacation. And that was actually as a result from the energy and personal development work that I've done previously that led me to completely overhaul my life, including where I lived. And that's actually something now that I teach other clients to do as well, not necessarily to relocate to a Caribbean island, but to actually release what might be holding them back, what might be making them unfulfilled in their life, in order to live what I call their life vision. So that's really how I help people. So I'm actually an energy healer and a life vision coach, and I specialize in using energetics to help my clients use their best lives, to live their best lives. My chapter in the anthology is called The Energy Game as a result of that. And it also reflects on the transformation and the journey that I went through in my own life and career. And it's really, I feel very humbled to be able to share that with the authors here and obviously the audience with the book. But before I go on, I just wanted to say thank you to Brenda and her team, because I've seen the hard work that's gone on to get us where we are today, and also the inspiring community of authors, the 22 authors that we are, each really inspiring, bringing our own unique voices. And, you know, the stories, the wisdom, the experiences in the anthology, I think are really, truly something special. So when I was invited to be part of Voices of Women, I think I said yes. Well, I did say yes straight away. It wasn't something I needed to think about, because I'm deeply passionate about female leadership. We've not had enough female leaders in the world, and it really affects us, not just in our families, but our communities, businesses, and our governments. So we really do need more women stepping into leadership roles, bringing their unique voice, their strengths, perspectives, and compassion to the table. But I do respect this isn't easy, because it's something that I also struggle with at points along my leadership journey. I struggled with being forced to sort of conform to more masculine traits within leadership, like assertiveness, control, detachment, some of those characters. That wasn't really true to who I was. So it took me like years to step into my own truth, embracing my vulnerability, liking to work with collaboration and intuition. But ultimately, it is a blend of both masculine and feminine traits that make us successful leaders. And also, I'd like to just say on the topic of female leadership, it's not just important as individuals, it's also about creating a ripple effect in society, which is what we're really hoping with this book. So when one woman steps into her power, then she takes others with her. And that's why I wanted to be a part of this anthology. So as I mentioned, my chapter is called The Energy Game, and you can find it, I think, on page 89. And I share my journey of transformation from overcoming complex PTSD from a toxic relationship whilst running my own business, and I am a single parent. So literally I was living in a state of overwhelm and survival, which unfortunately many people live in today. And I put a brave face on for longer than I should have done. But I went on to mastering my energy, working with my energy, and working on personal development. And I've created lots of life changes, and also started to impact the lives of others. So one key line from my chapter that I wanted to share is that, and this is my voice, I guess, is that true leadership begins from within. When you can harness the energy of both your heart and your mind, that's when you unlock your greatest potential. So this is also a message that is at the core of when I work with my clients, where I guide them to transform their energy and shift their mindsets, and ultimately align with who they really are to achieve living their life purpose. So that's a little bit about that. And as a way of showing our gratitude today to those who showed up live, Brenda will be doing a free prize giveaway, I guess, at the end when we're doing the books. And then to one member of the audience who might be like resonating with using energy as part of their journey, I'd like to offer a free energy healing session with me. So for whoever wins, then I can share more information about how I work and what that entails. And I think that's me.
Brenda, you're muted.
Oh yeah, I couldn't hear anything.
Thank you very much. Now, if we were in a hall or somewhere else, we would give her a round of applause. So let's give her a round of applause. It takes great courage, even as leaders, to stand up and share your voice and what you believe in, because there may be other people in the room that might be skeptical about what you believe in. And that's what's the difference between the women in this book. They're unafraid, they're unstoppable, and they want to share their message, because although we've all got slightly different messages, we all want to do the same thing. We want to be better, and we want to help other people to be the best version of themselves, to provide platforms for people to speak out, to find confidence, and actually step into who they truly are. So the word voice for me is absolutely it's pivotal. It's the thing in my life. All my books have the word voice attached to them. Voices of courage, voice of hope, voices of strength, resilient voices. And the fifth in the series is voices of women. So, and that's about speaking your truth. But I do have a caveat. And the caveat is that you speak your truth with love and compassion and respect. It's not just speaking your mind. That's what gets us into too much trouble, because we just speak our mind and we don't consider how that might land on the person who's receiving it. So if we speak with love and compassion, with a bit of understanding, with respect, we are then honoring ourselves, but we're honoring the other people. So that's what I believe to be voice, and that's one of the reasons we've got Voices of Women, the fifth anthology in the series. So now we've got another great woman from the book, Tracy Ho. And Tracy, I'll let Tracy tell you a wee bit about her story. Tracy, you can kind of lead us into the garden party as well, about when you turned up here, and what you and why you became part of our community. So Tracy, over to you.
Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, everybody. I met some of you very heavily in person. Palo Tibal, and who else here? I think is Amanda here? Then yes, it's been how long? You know, we met on the day I arrived in UK. How odd is that? I also mentioned my relocation to UK in the book. To me, you know, I met Brenda in Dubai. Julie, I was in Dubai as well, and Rafa Kema, and literally moved from Dubai to UK this time. And how I met Brenda was that we met in a conference, right, Brenda? I still remember Brenda was so energetic and inspiring. She was, you know, always come with so many ideas. Then suddenly, when Brenda say, "Hey, Tracy, do you want to share your views in the book?" I immediately say yes. I even didn't know what it is. Because I know with Brenda's support, things will go well. Then that's why I'm here. Why that it's never a I never thought or I never believed I'm a leader, I'm born to be a leader. That's why I said, you know, it's more like a from self-doubt to self-mastery in my chapter. And for maybe I think am I the only Asian in this group? I let me stereotype a little bit. In a traditional Asian or even Chinese family, we are very used to being, you know, criticized. And you know, my mom will always say what I didn't do. You know, even we have tests and exams, and then 10%, and then sooner or later I realized, oh, I was tuned to be a more like a, you know, glass half empty kind of mindset. To a point when one of my previous bosses, he mentioned to me very bluntly, "Hey Tracy, you're a perfectionist." I didn't know what that means until I realized, oh my God, yes, I overthink. I would doubt myself on many things, and that impacts me on a lot of my journey, regardless it's a career, study, work, and even my entrepreneurship entrepreneurial journey. So for me, it's a huge step to share the story by saying to people that, hey, you know what? I don't believe I found my way. The way is that I will follow my passion. I think I'm a very energy-driven, passion-driven person. To a point, once I found that, oh, I love to help people on their confidence, on their, you know, now I call it, you know, the presence and brand. Then when my clients are happy, I just felt unbelievably satisfied. That is where I got my energy from. And so to me, in fact, now I think new to the UK, it's a challenge because I barely can meet people. It's very remote, and I need to be surrounded by people to feel my energy. So this is a highly extroverted person, and yeah, and that's why hopefully I can meet some of you, if not all, in person sooner or later, and then to really get to know you, because I read the book and all the stories, again, it made me feel bad, you know, why I'm here. Thank you so much for Brenda's invitation. I'm very humbled in this journey. If I can, I want to, you know, read one of the paragraphs I wrote in this. I wrote that in page 200 of the book. Embracing authenticity has been a game changer for me. It has allowed me to lead with confidence and connect with others on a deeper level. By being true to myself, I have been able to inspire others to do the same. This authenticity has also made me more resilient, as I am no longer trying to fit into someone else's mold. Instead, I'm embracing my unique strengths and using them to make a positive impact. Like I mentioned, I'm from a more like a, you know, parent-driven family, so we used to follow until a point that I realized what others think and mandate me wasn't making me feel comfortable, and I felt I wasn't who I am. Then I paused, stopped, and I, you know, pivoted to a different path. It was so exhilarating, or, you know, liberating, I would say. So that's my little humble story. I think, you know, is it the end? I mean, I'm still on a new chapter of life, to be honest, in a new environment. Lots to learn, particularly, you know, learn from ladies who run the business, or who build your career in a new market or new place. So that's who I am. I hope I share a bit on my journey, Brenda.
Thank you very much, Tracy. Tracy, your connection wasn't brilliant throughout, so I'll just do a wee bit of a paraphrase there on for people. So Tracy, on the day that we had the launch in the garden party, the day the book actually launched, Tracy came from her plane with 2 small children, ages 4 and 6, and her husband, came after flying from Hong Kong all the way to Heathrow, and got in a car and drove to my house for the garden party. That shows great commitment. It shows her resilience, and that she's true to her word. And she talked about authenticity, and for me that is one of the key things that comes out in the book from everybody's story. They're so authentic, they're real, they're unafraid to share parts of who they are and their stories, like we heard from Natalie. It all started with PTSD. A lot of people don't want to admit that they've suffered from PTSD, but of course, as I said in the book, all the ladies are extremely resilient, unstoppable, and willing to share their story because they know it's going to help other people. It's making a difference and it's impacting lives, and it's inspiring them to take action. So Tracy is just settled in the UK from Hong Kong. You might have heard that she said she'd been in Dubai, and now we're all going to come together to support Tracy start her new life and help her business grow here in the UK. But of course, as we all know, our business can be international in this day and age. We've got Zoom. If you haven't got Zoom, well, You know, that's what makes us all international. That's why I can, you know, I can connect with all these amazing ladies from around the world. Tracy, thank you very much for joining us tonight. It's a pleasure to have you. Sorry, sometimes the connections are just not as strong as we would like. But well done, Tracy, for sharing your story and reading that little bit about it from your chapter. So thank you very much. So let's give her a round of applause. Thank you very much. So now we're
Thank
going
you,
to,
everybody.
oh, thank you, Tracy. So now we're going to bring in 4 of the ladies, although is Christy here? Let's see who's here. I can add Rosa, you can come in as well. And I know you're going to say something more later, Rosa, as well. But so I'm going to bring up Caroline Rubin, the wonderful and the brilliant Lindsay Dowd too, the beautiful Rosa, the charismatic Carolyn. Sorry, I forgot I haven't given you an adjective. Oh, really bad of me. And who am I missing? So we've got Lindsay, we've got Carolyn, we've got Rosa.
Leslie.
Oh, and Dr. D. How can I forget Dr. D? You know, I'm looking forward to getting my doctor, and there'll be 2 Dr. Ds in the Voices of Women. So yeah, sorry, Leslie. Let's bring you. I want to. Oh, how do I spotlight 4 people at once, Lindsay? You're very good at this.
I think if we just, the easiest thing, we'll just switch to multi-speaker and it will just do it for everyone automatically.
All right, okay,
in your
let's
upper right-hand corner,
yeah,
everybody just switches their
multi-speaker.
view.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay. So I suppose as we're speaking, it will highlight, but I was trying to bring you out, you know, from everyone else. Sorry, I don't, you
I
can't
think you
do
can
it.
pin us. And maybe I can do it. I'll try.
All right, you try. Lindsay is a pro at podcasts and all this techie stuff. I now need to go and find someone for my team who'll do all the techie stuff when I have all these meetings and launches and things, because it's very hard to keep going and then get your brain to think about what am I doing tech-wise, you know. So you do need to be successful, you need a lot of people around you. So that's why having a lot of people in the book where we can all support each other is just giving us a bit of leverage for our success. So I don't know if you've gathered it or not, but I love people. You know, as a publisher, we have over 200. We've created over 200 authors and co-authors in 22 countries around the world. But in this book, there and it's I believe in the law of attraction and all of that, you know, and abundance, and there's a reason why we've got so many American ladies in the book. Everybody's not here this evening, but we've got a good representation. So as I said, we've the wonderful Lindsay Dowd, we've got Rosa Antonini, we've got Dr. Leslie Davis, and the wonderful and the fantastic Carolyn Rubin. So I'm just going to ask a couple of questions to each of you. We'll do a couple of rounds, and then I think we'll open up to some questions, and so we get some interaction from the audience or any other of the ladies that's in the book, because just keeping listening is a bit too much. So let's do this, and then let's open up for some questions before we do the next round. So, Lindsay, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell
Sure.
us about what
And
you believe in and why you're in the Voices of Women.
I would love to, and thank you for inviting me into this extraordinary group of women. And it has been such a joy being part of this process and getting to know everyone along the way. So I'm Lindsay Dowd. My mission in life is to transform leadership as we know it. Brenda said I am a podcast host. I'm a 2-time author. I am a keynote speaker and a coach. And I spent 25 years in corporate America and then went out on my own 2.5 years ago. So I learned a lot of lessons along the way, some tragic, some really, really inspiring. And I use those stories to help illustrate what good leadership should look and feel like in the business world.
Thank you very much. So let's hear from Carolyn. Same from you, Carolyn. Just who you are, where you're from, what you do, and what inspires you about leadership.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brenda. And I'll echo Lindsay. Thank you for having us here. It's just a beautiful event and absolutely honored to be a part of Voices of Women. So I live in Dallas, Texas, but I have been in healthcare for more than 32 years. And I am a leadership coach. I am also a life coach and a meditation trainer. But it's all about growing individuals, right? It's about helping them find their voice, helping them to become the best person, the best version of themselves. And being in healthcare for 32 years, one of the challenges that I saw over and over again was we really needed to grow our leaders. We really needed to be able to help them communicate, help them to really put the message in the right way to where we were leading from the bottom up and not from the top down. Having worked in oncology for more than 20 years and my grandpa having cancer, one of the key messages that came out of that was just the real need for everyone to really pay more attention and to listen with their eyes when it came to taking care of patients, when it came to communicating with other individuals. So I am on a mission to just ensure that everybody's voice is heard and that they have that opportunity to grow, they have that opportunity to shine. And every Saturday on my podcast and my TV show, that's exactly what I do, is just give them that little bit of hope, to just that little nugget that will let them know they matter.
Thank you very much, Carolyn. And
Yeah.
what a wealth of experience that you have that you can bring to the table and share that wisdom with all those that you work with. So thank you very much. Let's now bring up the wonderful, the beautiful Rosa Antonini.
Hi, everyone. So glad to be here. So I am in New Jersey, US. I'm originally from the Dominican Republic, a little island with beautiful beaches and good food. And anyway, so I'm so grateful to be part of this group. And I was super excited and honored when Brenda called me, sent me an email about this project. And I personally have a great admiration from Brenda, and she knows that, you know, and the reason is she's one of those women that really lift other women. And I don't know if your experience, especially in the professional life, if you have found many women that really help you and help you, you know, go to the next step. I don't know if that happened to you. I know for me, that part has been a little hard, and I'm so glad that this movement has started to bring women together and, you know, to see the difference that we can make by working together instead of competing. There is no need to compete, and, you know, just lifting everyone up. So I am very grateful, Brenda. Thank you so much for considering me to be part of this anthology. And basically, I graduated with a pharmacist degree. Then I switched to technology. I do have a thing for data. I love data. That's my thing. I'm a software engineer and I love data. I also love helping people. And I had a big dream about helping others. I come from very, very humble beginnings. So everything, you know, in the financial, you know, was very hard. But, you know, I broke those bridges, let's say, and I went, and I think education has a lot to do to make those changes. So I am a big advocate of education. So I think that's how my book, The Zero Sum Game of You, came to life. And I donate everything that comes to that to support programs that help young adults in financial needs. And they get these skills that they can basically provide a better future for themselves and their family. So I hope, right now I'm running 3 different programs in Uganda, and I hope one day I can bring them to the Dominican Republic, India, and other countries.
Oh, thank you very much indeed, Rosa. So let's give a round of applause. And finally, can we bring up Dr. Leslie Davis?
Hello, everyone. And I'm sorry, I apologize for my voice. I've been sick the last few days, and I've been talking a lot today already. But I'm Dr. Leslie Davis. I am located in Illinois, but I'm right on the border of Missouri. So I'm close to St. Louis, Missouri in the US. And I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor, and I specialize in relationship therapy. And I enjoy working with young adults who are in transition to college. I work with college students. I work with women of all different backgrounds. Most of them are high achieving women. And I enjoy working with couples as well. And I'm really excited to be a part of this anthology, Voices of Women. I just think it's very timely with what's going on in the world. I think our voices need to be amplified right now. And my chapter talks about my experience with toxic relationships. And I'm so passionate about helping single moms who are struggling with toxic relationships so they know that they can break free from that and really find true love. And so part of how I do that is through my podcast called She Matters, which is something that I developed during my dissertation work. And She Matters is a movement to bring awareness to the mental health struggles of single mothers who deal with anxiety and depression, and to help them know that they can develop healthy relationships so they're not alone in their experiences. So thank you for allowing me into this space today.
Oh, fantastic. Another round of applause, I would say to that. So let's bring Lindsay back up again. So Lindsay, I know the way it's working, it'll do it all automatically. So Lindsay, you know, being an author, being a publisher, and being an anthologist, participating in books where there's more than one author, the most important thing that connects us to other humans is storytelling. So, Lindsay, would you like to share one of the many stories? I've heard so many, and I know you've got so many stories in you that's all around leadership. Maybe it's something from your days in corporate America, but can you share a story that has inspired you or that has made you think around leadership?
Oh, I mean, you're playing my love song, Brenda. That's how I speak. That's how I keynote. That's how I write. So my problem is choosing the right story. And part of the way that I teach and coach is I have tragic stories that are used to illustrate what not to do, and then I have really inspiring stories that show what a difference one leader can make. And I'll give you a really fun one that was, someone's trying to come in. Let me admit them.
I've let them in.
Okay. One of the ones that, this was actually my story, but this was, I was working with a team that I had acquired a whole bunch of different businesses all under one umbrella, and they definitely did not see why they were together. They did not care about each other. They didn't want to care about each other. They only wanted to sell the software. They were being told to sell and then go home. And I knew we needed more than that. I knew we needed an opportunity for them to connect and see each other. And so I started a storytelling campaign. And so I told everyone on the team, you need to be able to tell a story about what it is you sell, but you cannot use acronyms. You cannot use jargon. You have to tell it like you're telling it to my retired school teacher mother. And that was a challenge for them because they're in tech. They're used to using all of the jargon that IBM loved to use. That's where I was for 23 years. And so this became a challenge for all of them, but I gave everybody the spotlight. And each week it was a different person telling a different story, and the light bulbs started to go on. And people started saying, "That's what you sell? Oh, I didn't. That makes so much sense that I have to introduce you to my client. They need that." And they started connecting, and they started collaborating, and they started communicating, and we were having fun. And the people that were doing it really well were getting calls from the other reps who were saying, "Can you show me what you did? How did you do that so I can make mine better?" So all of a sudden, some trust is getting built, some camaraderie is getting built. And this program got so good that we turned it external. And so we started inviting our business partners. We started inviting clients. We were getting 500 people showing up to these calls. And I had calls from people saying, "I'm so glad you're doing this. The story that you had so-and-so tell, I'm changing my entire strategy based on what I just heard, because that is what I need. That's what I need to be selling." And the lesson here was, when you give people an opportunity to shine, they feel empowered, they feel confident, they get excited, and they inspire each other. And so this became everybody was staring at me from the outside going, I don't know what the hell Dowd is doing over there. It's weird. It's stuff we've never seen before, but she's crushing it quarter after quarter after quarter. And it just created this environment of fun, and people didn't want to leave. And I started getting like knocks on the door all the time. How do I come over? How can I be part of this team? I want to be part of this infectious energy. But I didn't learn this just from myself. I had leaders that showed me the way in their actions. And what I will say is anyone who becomes a leader in business or otherwise, you have become the topic of everyone's dinner conversation. Make sure those dinner conversations are good ones, and be the leader you always wish you had.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. That's excellent. Good. So Carolyn, it's your turn. And ladies, you know the drill. It's going to be to tell a story, because we are storytellers. We're natural storytellers. We tell our family, our friends stories every day. So along the way, I'm sure in 32 years, Carolyn, you've got one or two little stories tucked away in there that will either inspire us, move us, whatever. So please share one of the rich stories that you have in your library.
I will do so. Thank you, Brenda. I'm actually going to share a more recent one, and it was from last year. Because I've been traveling and just trying to be more global with leadership development, but also to be able to just train others how to do the same thing, right? How do we teach others to go out and make better leaders, or help people become better leaders? So last year I actually went to Panama. There's 150 of us that went to Panama. And we worked with children in high school, we worked with college kids, we worked with businesses, but we spent 3 days just having conversations with them on what does it mean to be a leader? And what does it mean to grow others? How do we make them successful, but how do we bring them into the fold and continue to just make their community a much better place, and just be able to have those open conversations? We also at the same time trained multiple facilitators to help with this leadership development, this transformation that we were doing in Panama. I had a interpreter with me. His name was Edward, and he traveled with me the entire 3 days that we went and spoke to these different groups. I have 2 groups of high school kids who still today will send me WhatsApp messages, and one group from the college that also will send a note every now and then just to say hello, but also to hold up their certificate where they were trained as facilitators, and to tell me their story about how many individuals they took through the leadership development course. How many individuals did they touch to continue to build and provide transformation in Panama of a better tomorrow? Probably 3 days ago, I received a WhatsApp message from Edward, who had now done 5 groups of high school kids just with leadership development, and being able to help them understand what it's going to be like when they get out of school. What's it going to be like when you go into college? How do you become a better person? How do you become a better leader? And so the transformation is still ongoing. We have another trip planned to go out there and to be able to continue to grow the ones we took through, but also to have an opportunity to meet all of the young children and businessmen that they took through that program. So it was very exciting to see. I have videos where they scream out, "I am a leader." And they're 11th grade and they're 12th grade, and they are making it happen. And they are even taking that message now all the way down to 5th grade. And it is just so exciting to see. So that's my fun story. It pulls on my heart every time I get a video from them, and it just puts a smile on my face. So I was so excited and happy to be a part of that journey and to be able to continue it.
Oh, thank you very much. Anything that's helping the future voices, as I call them, is, I'm there. So thank you very much. So the next person is Rosa. So Rosa, tell us one of your amazing stories. I know I've heard so many from you. Would you like to share a story either of inspiration, one that will move us, a funny story, whatever you like, but just let us hear that voice and that storytelling. Thank you.
I've had many stories, but let me tell you one about, because I like empowerment, basically to give the power to the person that you're talking to. They are in charge of their life. You are in charge of your life. And there was a time in my life where I was thinking that I needed to change my career from technology, which at the time, I thought I hated it. I went through a phase that I thought I hated it. And it was frustrating, it was overwhelming. I started blaming everyone, the managers, the project, the clients, everything was wrong. Everybody was at fault. And I was taking everything myself. I mean, nobody was telling me to do one thing or another, right? I have control, but I will put all the overhead, right? Based on what I wanted to do. And during that time, I even went to colleges I was going to do a whole different career again. And one time, I don't know how it happened, and I realized, all these issues is because I am the one with the problem. All the problems were because I didn't have boundaries. I did not set up boundaries. I didn't like to say no. I was more like a people pleaser. And just taking a lot that you spread yourself so thin that there is no energy for anything else. So you start neglecting things your highest priority. So when I talk to my team, in the different companies I've been, I always try that, it's not the company responsibility, it's not anybody's responsibility. Your life is your life as a professional, as a parent, as whatever it is what you do, it's in your hands. You get the tools. You try to do the best where you are. And if it doesn't work, move on. You don't have to stay there. You move on because you are in charge. So, anyway, that is a short story that I just always, because, in that case, I just changed my environment. I went to another company. And if I had changed my career, it would have been, I think, one of the worst mistakes because I love what I do. And if I love what I do, and I could have been in a stage where I thought I hated it and I wanted to change, just because of not taking that responsibility and bringing the power inside myself again to make the proper decisions, then what would have been the next step? So always, ask yourself, if you're in a position like that, what can I do? What I'm empowered? How can I take actions today to make changes? And sometimes the changes is like you move on, you go to the next step. You can plan to do it in 6 months, 1 month. You make ideas. The moment that you ask questions to yourself, our subconscious universe, call it whatever you want to call it, ideas are going to show up. People are going to show up in your life. Things just start happening. But it starts with your need, with your search, with you just realizing that basically who you are, what are the things that matter to you, and where is that you want to be. So always remember that you are in charge.
Thank you very much, Rosa. Thank you for that. And you're right, we are in charge. We can make the choices. If we don't like what we're doing, it might be not the job, it might be changing the environment. So thank you for sharing. We're kind of running out a bit of time. I knew I should have made this 90 minutes and not 60 minutes. So if it's all right, if we can just continue maybe another 10 minutes or so. So Dr. Leslie, could you tell a little story that will move us, inspire us, or bring a smile to our face? Thank you, Rosa, too.
Yes, and I can try to make this quick. So in the past year or two, since I've earned my doctorate, I've been challenging myself to tell more about my personal story. People who know me closely know what I've been through, know my experiences, but I never really shared it with the world. And I know when I had an interview with Brains Magazine, I was challenged on the spot to share my story about, being in toxic relationships. And recently, so I would say in the past couple of months, I've been challenging myself to expand my reach and get inside bigger spaces of being able to share my story, because I do believe in the power of telling stories and telling your personal journey to help other people to experience, that they're not alone. And put myself out there. I'll just say that. I put myself out there, and there was what's called a women's collective in our area, and they were looking for speakers. And I said, well, I can do that. Let me try this. And I was challenged to think of different parts of myself that I have not talked about just yet. And one thing that I decided to talk about was imposter syndrome. And doing some research with imposter syndrome, I thought about my personal experiences with that. And during my presentation, I shared with the audience that the way my imposter syndrome kicks in and the way that I know that it's there is sometimes I'll have dreams. And one particular dream is that I never really graduated from college. So I have this dream that I missed a credit. And I don't know how that happened because I am a doctor. So this dream is more about my undergrad experience. So how did I miss this credit and still become Dr. Davis? It makes no sense, right? And so my imposter syndrome kicks in sometimes. And I think the way that I've learned to overcome it is by talking about it. And I think that's the important message, is that we all have these hidden secrets about ourselves and who we are and the way that we want to show up in the world. But we really just have to talk about our strengths and our weaknesses and the things that we're afraid of. And sharing that fear is what's going to help us get through that.
Thank you very much. It's facing your fear. It's being authentic. It's telling your story, because we all have stories. And the thing is, there's thousands of people with the same story. It's unique to them because we've come from a different place and we're a different path, and we are all different. So thank you very much for doing that, for sharing that story with us, Leslie. I'll call you Dr. D, and I'll be aspiring to be Dr. D myself one day. So is there any questions at this stage, please? I would like to take some questions, because lots of people have been listening. I've had a look in the chat. I can't really see anything. So please don't be
Brenda,
shy.
there was one question in the chat that Catherine Grout posted, and she said, you have to scroll up quite a bit. It said, what is the one key takeaway you would like everyone who reads your chapter to have help them in their everyday lives? So some of us have been answering the question.
Okay, so let's ask someone that's not spoken yet.
Yeah.
Let's ask Tiba.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, ladies. And thank you very much, Brenda, for creating this community and having this project. When Brenda and I, we live locally. We met through a business network, and she called me to have a coffee in the village. We live in a very small village, is one road. So I went to meet Brenda, and she said, this is the project about leadership. So, and then I looked at her. I was like, she said, are you interested? I said, yes, of course. And then I said, I don't know what I'm going to write about. And she said, where you are a leader, when you become a leader. And I stopped for a second. And at that point, I said, when my dad passed away when I was 7, that I was put in the sport, and I had to become a leader. And in every challenge I had in my life, I didn't choose to lead. I had to do it, but it was just finding my purpose in every things I did, and I led in my life is the purpose. I put the purpose. I didn't think of a purpose. A 7 years old girl, and then in 17 years, when I was 17, another challenge, and it continue. But it's become, that's my life, and I had to lead. But it just led me is the purpose and courage, and whatever I did in my life, I did well. And I achieved a lot. I've been blessed. I don't know how, but here I am. I did it. I am mother first, for a very proud mother for 2 children. A refugee from Iraq. I came to the UK. I had no home. Become an orphan, age of 7. And then second, when I was 17, my mom and dad. I succeed. I've got 2 degrees. Master, I settle in the UK. UK is my home. Successful as a career, business owner, entrepreneur. I've been blessed. I study many things, and I am now leading women to achieve their 6-figure profit in their businesses. So that's me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Judith, would you like to answer that question as well? Lindsay, would you like to repeat it, please?
Yes, you bet. It was, what was the one takeaway you would like someone to have from your chapter?
Judith? You're muted, Judith.
I'm sorry, I'll read that again. You could go straight to Radio 4 for the blooper reel, couldn't it, really? Or somewhere else that's equally as good. So I said, maybe, and actually, we might want to bring Lindsay in also. And I think Tracy also answered this question in the chat, just in case the chat doesn't get recorded, Brenda, perhaps in a minute.
It's been recorded.
But I said to be different, and thank you very much, Catherine, for the question and for your very kind response to what I said. But my key takeaway was, and I've lost it now, somewhere in the chat. I don't want to say anything too different to what I said there. Was along the lines of, my one take wonder was be courageous and persevere. Short and sweet. But I think my main takeaway was, there's lots of takeaways within the book and also within the podcast / interview, #spoilers. So have a look at those. And I would be really interested to know, Catherine, what your view is and what you think my key takeaways are, because everybody perceives things differently. And I'm aware that when I read things, certainly, I may have different takeaways to somebody else when I read particularly books like this, but when you read any book. So I think that would be quite interesting as well, to find out what yourself and the rest of our readership think. So if you have any comments on that, get in touch with us on LinkedIn, those of us that are on there, or through our other social media. And I'm sure we'd be happy to continue the conversations further.
Thank you very much, Judith. Lovely seeing you tonight. I'm glad you've joined us. I'm really delighted with that. So I think there's only one lady left that we haven't heard from tonight, and that is the wonderful Eve Stanway. Now, Tibba, you've moved me to tears tonight. And when I read all the stories, and I know you because we've had all these conversations, you've all moved me to tears with your stories and your honesty and your authenticity. But I would like Eve to close us this evening with a bit of her story and the journey, and how being a co-author in the Voices of Women has impacted not just her, but some of the people that she's touched in the last couple of months. Over to you. Where are you, Eve? Okay.
Thank you so much, Brenda, and thank you to everyone. It's been really very moving, actually, listening to everybody speak. And as somebody who's read all the stories in the book and spoken to so many of you, what's interesting is how this kind of hits again and again and again each time. And I think that it's to do with the ripple effect that Natalie spoke of, and it is to do with what Lindsay also spoke of, and other people, about that simple power of storytelling, which is something that we know within history of the stories that are handed down. And then in doing something like this, what we're doing is sharing those stories too, and it's incredibly powerful. I have an interesting and complex background, like so many of the other ladies in the book. And I also, at around the age of 7, Tibba, had to step into a leadership role when my mother left the home, and to kind of take over the care of really running the home, actually, and being very, very functional, very, very early on in my life. And the power of education is something that I felt very strongly. It was almost like the only way to deal with the uncertainty and having to be so much more than I was really developmentally capable of being was go learn. And that's, I really like the power of learning was something, and I've really tried to instill that into my children. But I never really thought of myself as a leader. And it was only when I was connected to Brenda, and I had this idea that I wanted to write a book. And what was so amazing with the process of working in this was Brenda stripped me back down to my basic stories and my basic values and my mission and my, like, the things that matter to me. And that's been such a strengthening thing over the past year that I've been working. And so when I was given, when she said, like many of you, when she said, oh, do you want to be in this Voices of Women? First of all, I thought, who, me? Why would you pick me? I'm not a leader. I don't know anything. I'm just, no. But then, of course, as you rustle around through your own background and your stories, you discover that, well, yeah, actually, I've been a leader for a long time. So that was very powerful. But what I want to do is fast forward to a little bit more recently. So I went to the garden party and it was incredible. There was an amazing song. Brenda sang, people danced. There was so much vibrancy within that space. But then I thought, oh, I don't know, maybe a few friends of mine will come to the pub afterwards. So I drove all the way back to London from Epsom and met friends in the pub. Friends like my friend Steve, who's here today, and Angela and some other people who were really interested in this book and really interested in the story. And then my friend Rita had me there signing copies of the book and selling them. And I was just like, that can't be me. This can't be something that people are interested in. But then that isn't even the thing. The thing was people that I know who'd read the book highlighting clips and sending them to me over WhatsApp because what had been written in the book mattered. Other friends contacting me and saying, I'm so moved by all the stories. One of my friends who took the book on holiday and read all the stories and then asked me if I would connect her to one of the other people who was a co-author in the book because she felt that resonance. Another friend of mine who had a copy of the book, which I gave to her, but then she discovers her 22-year-old son sitting there reading the book. And then he turns around to her and said, I never knew this stuff about Eve. I never knew this stuff. So that's what the impact is, isn't it? It's the people who are reading, the difference that it makes, the connection that it makes, that ripple effect. Because in the end, that young man who's reading these stories of the voices of women may, as he gets older, have a daughter. And the stories that he's read within that book may affect the way he teaches her to be a woman, or he teaches his son what women can do. And that's what the power of Voices of Women is. It is not a book about women for women. It's a book about people for people and getting those perspectives across. And so really that's what I wanted to share. I am a person who has worked really hard and educated herself and done my best to always be a good person whilst feeling like an utter fraud and like I'm not good enough and that I'm ashamed that I'm not, got more qualifications, even though I've got many. And then I go on a journey and I discover that there's somebody who does recognize leadership. And then I find that leadership in myself. And then I find that voice. And then I join that voice to a bunch of other people who have that voice. And then people read those words and their lives are affected. And I just can't think that there's a better way of living. So I just want to say to you, Brenda, thanks ever so much. And I want to say to the other women, thank you for saying yes and your honesty in the book. And I suppose I want to leave it with you, Brenda, about what has, you've heard about the impact on so many different people, but what is the impact for you being on this amazing book and this amazing journey? If you unmute yourself, we'll get to hear about it.
Okay. So I actually feel very emotional, and I never cry from adversity or sadness. That doesn't make me cry. I cry from souls speaking and people speaking their truth, and people being unafraid and stepping into the best version of themselves. And Tiba, you really have moved me tonight. And I know I've heard that story before, but the way you've said it tonight has really moved me. Eve Stanway, from the woman I met a year or so ago to the woman who spoke in the last few minutes, the transformation is amazing, but it's always been inside you. You just need the right people. And that's why I've brought Voices of Women to the fore. And I was driven so passionately about it, because I don't know if I said already that I'd been a teacher for 25 years, and all my life since my earliest memories being a 5-6-year-old, was I always wanted the best for people and to make them shine. It was never about me. It's always about other people. And my business is Book Brilliance publishing, and everything I do, I talk about brilliance, and we've heard about the ripples effect. So my purpose in life is to bring the brilliance out of other people, to create the platforms and put them in a spotlight so they can shine their brilliance with the world, so they can create the light and be the beacon of light for other people. And together, when we come together in this community and we join arms and we are walking side by side, we are all leaders in our own right, but no one leads anyone else. We lead our own life. So for me, it's bringing out the brilliance in other people and to let it shine, whether you're a 5-year-old, whether you're 55, 25, that is just who I am. And it's not something I've done since being a publisher. It's something I have done all of my life. The stories, when I think about it, and that's why the word brilliance resonates everywhere for me. So you've all been brilliant tonight. We've heard brilliant stories. Let's give each other a round of applause. Thank you very much. I know we've really run over 60 minutes. I should have known that with it being an anthology is never enough. It's different if it's one author and they're sharing everything. Yes, we've 20 minutes over, but I would take one. If anybody's got a burning question, and particularly from the audience, it's not the co-author, if there's anything they want to ask any of the women here tonight, please ask the question. I will announce tomorrow the winners of the 3 copies and the winner for Natalie's session. Judith.
Well, I think there's a lot of it coming out in the chat, but I think it's possibly good to also to say it sort of out loud, as it were. But thank you so much, Brenda, for inviting us all to do it, because we wouldn't be here without you. And we certainly couldn't have done it without you and Zara and Olivia and Eds and the rest of your wonderful team behind the scenes, some of whom we probably haven't even met. So I think maybe a round of applause for you as well. And thank you so much, Brenda.
Thank you very much for your generous words. But when I see you all shine and tell those stories and come together and support each other, that makes my heart sing and my soul dance. So that's what it's about for me. So thank you very much. Well, with that,
there was one question.
Oh yeah, okay, Lindsay, thank you for being here.
It's okay. Someone asked if we could take another photo.
Oh yes, let's take a photo. Lindsay's so she's taking the photo as well and organising everything. Thanks, Lindsay.
No problem. Happy to do it. If you have your book, hold it up. And if you don't have a book, smile like you're gonna buy it right now.
Exactly, good selling.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Good job.
Thank you very much.
I
See
just
what I mean? I forgot about that. That's how you always need somebody that's got all the things to remind you what to do. I hope you've enjoyed this evening, everybody. Whether you're a co-author in Voice of Women, if you've sat here for over an hour and listened to the amazing voices that make up the Voices of Women, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Please do go out and buy a copy. Buy a Kindle copy at 99p. Let's
Brenda,
do it.
can I just, were you going to say something about 3 copies going out? Do you remember at the beginning?
I've said that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. I said, yes, let's say that. Okay, thank you for the reminder. I do need people reminding me. I'm a woman of a certain age and I don't always remember everything, as some of the women will tell you. But I do try my best, and that's all I can ever do. That's all any of us can ever do. So thank you very much to everybody who was here. Amanda, thanks for turning your camera on. iPhone 54, whatever your name is, thank you for being here. And Angela and Alison and who else is here? And Yvonne, thank you. Yvonne's just launched her book recently, a brilliant read, Memory Boxes. Go and buy that too. You will be crying, you will be laughing. An amazing woman as well. So thank you very much, Yvonne, for showing up. Johnny, thank you for being the man here. Spread that word. And just to keep the record straight, I've also got a book, it's all men, so and they're always done purposefully for a reason. So thank you, everybody. Enjoy, keep sharing your stories, keep smiling, keep being you, and keep spreading your brilliance in the world. Thank you. Till the next time.
Bye. Lovely to meet everyone.
Bye, Rex.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.